Congratulations, you've graduated high school and have moved on to college, and that's no small feat. But more so, if you've clicked on this video, that means that you're ready to take control of your finances and get your first credit card. And for that, I have to applaud you.
Good job, Kylie. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
This video is one of 3 of my starter credit card series, and I'm going to go over the best student credit cards that you can get. That's right, banks have credit cards specifically designed for students and to help them build credit and get rewards. And I found the best ones for you, so you don't have to. So go ahead and sit back, grab your bowl of Doritos and crack open a White Monster, and keep me playing in the background at 1.5 times speed. Now we've got some new terms in this video that we haven't gone over yet that are very important. I'm going to go ahead and put them on the screen now with their definitions, but I'll go over each of them individually as the time comes. If you already know what some of these words are, good for you for being ahead of the game. So 73% of Americans will get their first credit card by the time they're 25. And if you're like me, it wasn't something that you thought long and hard about, but it was something that you got because you immediately needed it. For me, my Jeep needed a new clutch. And at 18, I didn't have $1,400 sitting in my bank account, so I had to open a credit card, which was a student credit card. To get a student credit card, you must be a full-time student. This can be college, community college, graduate school, any full-time student will do. And you either have to have a full or part-time job or somebody over the age of 21 that can co-sign for you. Now this may be the first time we've ever heard the word co-sign before, and so what that means is that when someone co-signs a loan or a credit card with you, they are also legally responsible to make payments on that card or loan if you fail to do so. If you co-sign with someone and they don't pay it off, you are legally responsible to pay it off. And if neither of you do, both of your credit scores get dinged. So please don't ever co-sign with anybody that isn't your spouse or your child. Not your mom, not your girlfriend, nobody. A lot of student credit cards for some reason require good to excellent credit, like we're talking 700 to 800 credit score. So we're going to skip those for now, but we'll come back to them at the end. Now, if you don't know what your credit score is, please pause here and click on this video. I have the timeline broken up into chapters at the bottom, so you can skip to the end where I tell you how to check your credit score. You should never apply for a credit card or a loan without knowing what your credit score is, because the loan or card that you could be applying for might need like a 750 credit score, and you actually have a 650 credit score. So what's going to happen is you're going to get denied, and then a hard inquiry is going to go on your credit report. It's going to hurt your credit score, and you're going to be super discouraged, and now you're going to be at an even worse spot to apply for one that you could actually get. You likely didn't apply for your college without knowing what your GPA was, so please don't apply for a credit card without knowing what your credit score is. So let's go over my top 3 student credit card picks if you have no credit. Coming in at number 1 on the list is the Capital One Quicksilver Student. This card gets 10% cash back on Uber and Uber Eats. And cashback means that for every dollar you spend, you get points or cash back. I know, it's pretty self-explanatory. And in this case, for every dollar you spend on Uber and Uber Eats, you get 10 cents back. So if we do a little bit of girl math here, everything on Uber and Uber Eats is 10% off with this card. And that's nuts. There are very few cards that give you 10% cash back on anything. On top of that, you also get a complimentary Uber One membership. And then on anything that's not Uber or Uber Eats, you get 1.5 times cash back. So this means for every dollar I spend at any store, I get 1.5 cents back. And that may not sound like a lot, but it will definitely add up over time. Another important thing to note with this card is that there are no foreign transaction fees. And so what this means is whenever you travel out of the country, there's usually a fee associated with using your credit or debit card out of the country because the bank has to do some sort of conversion with currency. But with this card, that's waived completely. So you can use this card overseas and not have to worry about getting hit with any foreign fees. Another nice thing, and with Capital One in general, is this card comes with a pre-approval check. This means that you can check to see if you're approved for this card and it will not hurt your credit score. So now you don't have to worry about being denied and it hurting your score. You can go and see if you're pre-approved. And if you are, then you can go ahead and go through with the application. And if not, you should hold off until you're in a better spot. And a little disclaimer is that just because you are pre-approved doesn't guarantee that you're actually going to get approved when you apply for the card. I know it sucks, but that's just the way that it is sometimes. Coming in at number 2 is the Discover It Student Chrome. This card gives you 2% cash back on gas and eating out on your first $1,000 every quarter, and then 1% back on everything after that. And so this is what we call limited cash back. So every 3 months, you'll get 2% cash back on up to $1,000 of spending on gas and eating out. And then after that, you get an unlimited 1% back. So this means that every month you have about $333 of spend that you can get 2% back on. And anything that isn't gas or eating out, you get unlimited 1% cash back. And there's also what's called a sign-up offer on this card. And a sign-up offer is a special deal that you get for getting the card, kind of like an incentive for applying for it. And the sign-up offer for this card is that you get unlimited cashback match for your first year. So this means that if you got $100 in cash back on your first year, Discover will give you another $100. And that's pretty huge. There's not a lot of cards that give you cashback match. And another plus for this card is that Discover explicitly states that you do not need credit to apply for it. Another sign-up offer for this card is that you get 6 months of 0 APR. And what this means is that for 6 months, you can carry a balance on the card and not get charged any interest. Whoa, Stuart. That goes against everything that you've been telling me about credit cards. And I know, but if you look back, I threw a little asterisk in there that said you should never carry a balance unless you're in a 0 APR or promotional window. So essentially, you have 6 months, you can make a large purchase, and then you have 6 months of interest-free payments that you can make. For instance, with my first card, I said that I needed to get the clutch replaced for my Jeep. And so I got a student card with Wells Fargo, and I got 12 months of no interest, or a 0 APR window for 12 months. So this allowed me to pay, instead of $1,400 right off the bat that I had to pay next month, I was able to break it up in like $180 increments for 12 months. And this can come in clutch.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
I don't know if you guys say that anymore. Anyway, this card also has a pre-approval check, so you can see if you're pre-approved for this card without it hurting your credit score. Lastly, my third recommendation is whatever student card your bank offers. So whatever bank that your checking and savings account is with, I would recommend reaching out and seeing what student card they offer. And I say this because they know how much money is in your bank account, like your checking and savings, and they know how much you spend and how much you bring in every month. So you might be able to get a potentially higher credit limit with them than you would with a bank that you have no history with. Go to your bank's website and see what cards they have for students. Or you can call or go in, but I know no one wants to do that.
Call anonymous. You call anonymously.
I can't. Please, you got to do it for me. I'm begging you.
All right, so those are my top 3 student credit cards for those of you with no credit. And now we can move on to those of you that have good or excellent credit. And those of you that don't have any credit, you might be like, well, how do these 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds have excellent credit? Well, if you watched my last video, which I'll put up here, I gave you a credit hack on how to get decades of credit history at 18. And this could potentially raise your credit score to over 800. And you'd almost be able to get any card that you want with an 800 credit score. All right, so the top 3 picks. Starting off with number 1 is the Capital One Save Your One student card. And this is hands down the best student card that you can get as a college student. It comes with 10% back on Uber and Uber Eats, a complimentary Uber One membership, a sign-up bonus of $50 if you spend $100 in the first 3 months, 5% back on hotel and rental car reservations if you book through the Capital One travel portal, 3% back on eating out, grocery stores, entertainment, and popular streaming services like Spotify and Pandora, and 1% back on everything else. For free. This card has no annual fee, and it's also got no foreign transaction fees, just like the Quicksilver. And you might be going, holy sh**, why did you even bother to recommend any other card? Well, like I said in the introduction, is that you need good to excellent credit for this, at least a 690 credit score to get approved for this card. Yeah, 690 to 850. So go ahead and click on this link and watch that video so you can get your credit score up. And also, there's a pre-approval check for this card that all of the pre-approval links I'm going to put in the description down below. But yeah, this is a super powerful card and probably the best one that you can get as a college student. And I would highly recommend this card to start with because you can do what's called a product change and change this card from the student version to the non-student version, and you just the regular Capital One Saver one. And then you can pair that card with a much better travel card called the Venture X and get free travel and tons and tons more rewards. And that's commonly called the Capital One Duo, and we're gonna have a video about that in the future once we finish laying all the basics. But if you're in the future watching this video, then I'm gonna go ahead and put it up top there so you can click on it. Coming in at number 2 is the Bank of America Travel Rewards Card for students. And this card's best for those of you that travel a lot now, whereas the Capital One Saver One student would be if you're going to travel more in the future. But those of you that are traveling a lot now for school or whatever, this would be a good card for you, but it's got a much higher barrier of entry. This card doesn't have a ton of bells and whistles compared to the Saver One, but it does have a very high sign-up bonus for its category of card. And that's that you get 25,000 points if you spend $1,000 in 90 days. And in all of your spending, you get unlimited 1.5 times cashback. This card also has no foreign transaction fees, but there's unfortunately no pre-approval check for this. So if you want this card, unfortunately, you're just gonna have to apply for it and hope that you get it. And the last card coming in at number 3 is the Discover It Student Cashback. This card comes with 5% cashback on rotating categories on up to $1,500 spend, and then 1% on everything else. All right, and that was a lot of conditions for spending, and we've never said rotating categories before. So on the screen, I'm going to put the rotating categories for 2023 so you can kind of get a feel of what that means. And so these categories change every quarter or every 3 months. So for quarter 1, you got 5% cash back on grocery stores, drugstores, and certain streaming services. And then it changed in April and it went to restaurants and wholesale clubs like Sam's or Costco I think that's it. And then it changed again in quarter 3, and then changed again in quarter 4. But see, this time you got Amazon and Target. So sometimes, and one important thing there with quarter 3 is that it was 5% back on digital wallet purchases. Well, that's essentially just Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay. If your card's on your phone and then you tap to pay with your phone, then you get 5% cash back on any purchase that you make using Apple Pay, Google Pay, or the like. And that's really huge because that's essentially 5% cash back on everything. I personally am not a fan of rotating category cards because I like to get specific cards for specific things and then I know exactly what to use each card for, and I don't really want to keep up with changing categories every 3 months. And for your first card, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you know, that might be really cool to you, especially with the opportunity to get 5% back on virtually anything. If that's what you're into, then I'd say go for it. And that's why it's on this list. This card is also offering unlimited cashback match for your first year. And if you miss a payment, which you should never do, they will waive the late fee for your first missed payment. And why don't we miss payments? Because it'll ruin your credit score. Exactly. Good job, you're listening. There is a pre-approval link for this card that I've got in the description down below. All right, that was it. Those are the top 3 credit cards for students if you have no credit or good credit. I hope you enjoy this video and it helps you. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped inform you and make. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped to make. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped make. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you make an informed decision about what your first credit card should be. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see the next one. Thanks. Bye.